Alright everybody, hello and welcome as always. I am Sean. This is In The Mixer, episode 151 of our Isle of Man series. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend wherever in the world you're watching from, even if you're watching this one after the fact on a playlist or something like that. If you haven't gone back and watched last week's episode, especially Friday's episode 150, go and check that one out. It's got so much tension, drama, all that sort of great stuff that you expect out of an episode 150, and also it has the Europa League final, which was a huge match for us, and it's going to give additional context to what we go through in today's episode as well. Of course, it is also the start of a new season, which means we've got signings to introduce, guys that have left, guys that have come in, tactical tweaks that have made, full preseason results, all that sort of great stuff. It is one of my favorite episodes to record. We're not going to waste too much time. We're going to jump straight in and see how we've done. So, a little bit unique. You can see we've already played one league game this season, which isn't usually the case. Usually we try and bring you the first game of the year, but we do have, you can see it just up the top of the screen here, our UEFA Super Cup final against Manchester United. They won the Champions League last season. We, spoilers, won the Europa League last season. We get another chance to go straight into another cup competition, which is why I pulled on the suit, because why not? It's a cup final, it counts. It's a very different Manchester United side, managed by Sean Dyche, who was the England manager for the last few seasons. And you can see, like our previous meetings here, we've got a couple of draws in there, but it's all Manchester United wins. We've never actually beaten them in the last 12 games that we've played. Maybe this will be the time, but we'll bring that to you guys at the end of this episode. We'll go through that full cup competition and see if we can't overturn that kind of deficit or that poor form against United themselves. First and foremost, we should probably get stuck into transfers. We've had people come in, people go out, and probably our biggest achievement this offseason is keeping hold of a couple of different people as well. First, having a look at the outs, and the big one is that we have raised £165 million from outgoing player sales. We've also spent about 96, but it's helped our finances get up to a good position as well, which of course was such a big important part of last season. We need to try and continue that a little bit this year. And I think given that we recovered about £150 million of debt last year, just focusing on being financially responsible, if we do that again this year, we should hopefully have like £100 million in the bank at the end of the year. That's the idea in my head. We'll see how it actually plays out. But the first one, £40 million heading to Blackburn. Gary Lester, who was a fantastic servant for us, and really we probably could have kept him around. Was a very good like third choice central midfield option. He never complained about not starting. Consistently gave us like really good performance, like over sevens from appearances that weren't huge either. Like you can see in the last two seasons especially, made 17 appearances in the league, 14, but still had 7.16 and 7.15 average ratings. That's very impressive. But the fact is, £40 million is what we paid for him a few years ago. He has gotten a little bit better since we initially bought him in, and we just needed the cash effectively. We wanted to try and bring that in, get our revenue back, or get our bank balance back to a positive figure. And eventually you always want to kind of like refresh and bring in like new wonder kids to have a look at in your team. I've also let go of Lua Barbosa, again, another player that I think has done really well for us. 20 goals and 160 appearances in the end. He's also gone to Blackburn for £30 million. 3-star current and potential ability. He was again a wonderful squad player. Could play at the 8, could play at the 10. And another who just chipped in with like good average ratings over the course of seasons. His last season, 2034-35, was when he really like played each game. And he chipped in with 10 goals, 5 assists in that time, 4 player of the match appearances. Last season, as more of a squad player, didn't play as much, only 19 appearances, and did drop down a little bit in terms of average rating. But again, just a wonderful player that we had since we played his release clause at Gremio. Got good 6 seasons out of him. He, of course, helped us stay in the Premier Division in our first season in the Prem. And he heads back down to a championship level, which is probably where he's at the moment anyway. You're probably already starting to pick up on a bit of a theme. It's another squad player, Jimmy Winter, who was excellent for us in the back end of last season. He has moved on to Fulham for £30 million, another championship side coming in for a squad player of ours, which is always great to see. He was again fantastic for us over, how many seasons did we have him? 5 seasons. £2 million in from Wraith over in Scotland. We send him back out for 30. It's fantastic profit. Not the greatest average ratings over the course of a season, but what really helped with Jimmy Winter was his versatility. He could play on the right, he could play on the 10, he could play on the left. 3-star current and potential ability, like that's good for a squad player. He's actually gone to Fulham and like doubled his pay, which is crazy. And again, a fantastic servant, but I think we're at that point now where we really want to try and get like 4 and 5-star players in the starting 11. And then the rest of the squad, the backup players, are like wonder kids that have really high potential and may eventually get to that level. Which means the likes of Jimmy Winter, guys that aren't really going to get any higher than their current rate, we're kind of pushing them on a little bit, all for a profit, which is great to see. An interesting one, Junior Mbungu, we've let him go because there were other players on the market that I think are eventually going to get to a higher current ability than he has. Wasn't bad for us though, 50 appearances and 6 goals. Most of that would have come in substitute appearances. He didn't start a whole lot of games. Picked him up for a free transfer, sold him for £20 million. It's a good return for us. He makes his way to Werder Bremen in the Bundesliga. Hasn't quite played for them just yet, but you'd think at 21 years of age, time is on his side very much. An interesting one, El-Mehdi Mokhtar, who has really been, since he signed for the club a few seasons ago, a linchpin of our defence. We're in a unique scenario where he's turned 22 now, so he wasn't really going to get any higher than that 2.5 star, maybe 3 star current ability. So we've kind of preemptively let him go to bring somebody else in. I'll show you him when we get to the players in. Again, like a really solid prospect, but just never really got like the technical attributes or the physical attributes, anything that moves above 16 into that green stage, which is what we really hope for him. We did take a loss on him. Bought him for £50 million from Atletico Madrid 3 seasons ago. He was good across that time, all 7s in terms of average rating, and we've let him go for £20 million to Tigres. We are paying a little bit of his wages as well. We just got to a stage where I thought I need to get him off the books, and we need to kind of condense and consolidate our lineup a little bit. I'll explain to you why in a moment. Larry Ortiz, our left winger, a Colombian wonder kid. He turned 21, of course, so he was going to stop being a wonder kid. He was going to really get to a position where he wasn't going to hit that 4-star potential ability. We've moved him on for £20 million to Reading. Again, a fantastic profit. We picked him up for £2 million 4 seasons ago from Colombia directly. Solid, but not super spectacular. He was in and out of the side quite a bit with injuries over the last 2 seasons. We've moved him on for a profit. Again, he goes to a championship side, and they've paid good money and increased his wages, which is, I think, crazy to see. I've also let David Cambridge go, £5 million Fenerbahce. We signed him to a contract late last season with the view that we were then going to sell him on. Waited for the year to tick over, sold him on to Fenerbahce. They came in, paid a decent amount of money, and takes his wages off the books, which is always fantastic to see. 2-star current ability, 2.5-star potential ability. He didn't have the greatest injury record. Like you can see, really since we had him, like he was out for quite a bit. He broke his leg last season. We nursed him back to full training, but it was clear that he was never really going to hit the level that was required for Premier Division football. So £5 million, great turnaround to get for him as well. Nicola Materazzi was a young player that we had. He left on a free transfer. Again, we just were never going to play him in the centre of midfield, and I didn't think he looked that great in terms of like the key attributes that we'd want for him. We're using deep line playmakers at the moment anyway. Not where we need him to be for Premier League football, so he moves on to Fulham on a free. Now, for the lads in, so £96 million spent. Keep in mind, we are trying to get away from using that future fee stuff, which kind of got me into our shitty financial situation, paying $10 million up front and $30 million over 3 years. So most of the guys that you've seen here, we're focused on really trying to find release clause bargains. Before we get into some of these players, I'm going to talk about 3 of the players in the actual squad itself. The first being Pablo Rivera. Now, I was terrified Pablo Rivera was going to leave at the drop of a hat. He has a £100 million release clause, and I think it was Liverpool that bid 90 million or something like that. And I thought, okay, that's it. We're going to reject this bid, this £90 million bid, and then the next team that comes in for him, they're just going to pay £100 million, and we're going to lose him like that, and we're not going to have time to figure out how to bring a replacement in because it's getting late in the window. I'll get into that a little bit further as well. He was a real concern. I know Henry hasn't had bids come in yet, but he is in a very similar situation. He's got a £97 million release clause, and he's not far away from actually hitting that value overall. £72 million now. Had a good Olympic campaign as well for France. Is, of course, a full French international, 6 caps to his name at 21 years of age. Isn't too bad. There was concern that he might leave. There was also concern that Esteban might leave as well. Southampton, I think, bid a total overall value of £80 million, but I went back and said, we want you to pay out £80 million in total. Oh, he actually signed a new contract. That's why it's not showing, which was his release clause. They didn't come back in. He also picked up an injury, which I think kind of helped get rid of some teams. And then thankfully, we were actually able to get him to sign a new contract. He goes up to 80k a week, which is a fair increase. I think he was on like 45, maybe 50 before that. But that has in turn gotten rid of his release clause, which is fantastic to see. There was concern with one of the players that we brought in. We kind of preemptively brought him in, paid out his release clause in the view that we were going to lose Esteban. And that was why we sort of rushed the delay, or not rushed, but expedited the departure of El-Mehdi Mokhtar a little bit earlier than we thought, because we brought a player in, then we kept Esteban. We didn't really need that third high quality central defender because he wasn't going to hit that overall potential, and I didn't really want him to get in the way of one of the players that we've done. We've managed to keep hold of all 3. Rivera, Henry and Esteban play for another season. We lost Neil Peacock middle of the year last season. It'll be interesting to see if Rivera and Henry give us similar issues. I'm hopeful we can get to a point where they might sign new contracts, and I can try and push them up to £100,000 a week. I know Henry's already there, but maybe I can try and offer them a sell-on fee to get rid of their release clauses, because I think that's a big concern. Don't get me wrong, like we'd take £100 million if we could get it, but for where we're at right now, they're 21, they're coming into like their prime, they're already at, nearly 5-star current ability, which is fantastic to see, and they've had a few years out of Premier Division level to get settled, so we don't want to lose them, But if we do, it's not exactly going to kill us dead in the water, and I'm not going to crack it with the save. We can go on, we can find new wonder kids, we can bring them through and develop them further. What we do need to try and do this season, and you'll see because of a lot of the potential ability here, is get more players up to this level, more 4-star players in the squad. There are a couple that are carrying knocks and injuries, which would be in the lineup, but there's a lot of like 2.5-star, 3-star players that we want to try and push to be 5-star players by the end of the season. And with that in mind, keep that in mind as we go through all these players, because they're all a bit younger, they're all kind of wonder kids, and we're going to try and continue to push them and develop them a little bit further to hit that 4-star, 5-star ability that we're looking for. The first, Ismail Abisamad. I'm probably going to butcher that 15 different times before we actually sign it. This is the guy that we've brought in from Standard over in Belgium. He will likely be the replacement for FM20 Mokhtar on that left-hand side of our defence. He's not a left-footed player, but he does have one Belgian cap to his name, which he picked up not long after we signed him. We paid £23 million, which was his release clause at Standard. He's been pretty decent. He's played most of their games over the last 3 seasons, despite still only being 19 years of age. Paid 23, he immediately rocketed up to £32.5 million. His contract is decent. It's only 40k a week, which is great. Bit of a loyalty bonus, a couple of little performance bonuses, appearances fees, goal bonus, clean sheets bonus, but it's a big reduction on what we were paying FM20 Mokhtar, and he's got no release clause, which is fantastic for us. So if he does turn into that 4-star, 5-star player, we can keep hold of him, or we can at least dictate our own price if he does want to leave. But very excited to have him join. He's got excellent technical attributes, already 16 marking at a young age. His tackling, his passing will already continue to improve just playing games. He's a ball-playing defender by trade, which is what we needed. His mental attributes are very good. Good aggression, good decision-making, good positioning, and physically very good as well. Already got 16 agility, 17 natural fitness, a lot of 14s and 13s in his other traits. If we give him a year or two at this level, I think they'll turn into 14s, 15s relatively quickly, which will be fantastic to see. He'll likely partner Esteban at the back. The next one, Lucas Gabriel, joins from Brazil. Comes from Set, which I think is Palmeiras, if I remember correctly. He's a right winger by trade. Again, a scenario where there was just a player who was 18 years of age, had a good release clause, which was £21.5 million. We thought we'd pay it out. We'll bring him in. He's on okay money, 60k a week. We probably didn't need a right winger, but I think the big thing that we've done is we've tried to build out sufficient depth across the squad. Last season we had Neil Peacock and Jimmy Winter. Jimmy Winter was a big drop off. He was half the star rating of Neil Peacock, and then we lost Neil Peacock mid-season. So we've got Lucas Gabriel, who's 3-star current ability, 5-star potential. We've also got behind him Frank Richard, who's also 3-star current ability and 5-star potential. So 2 players, still relatively young, both teenagers, but we can rotate them through that position and get pretty much similar output or similar development is what we're hoping for. But I think he's going to be excellent for us. He can play it right back if we do want to kind of like change his development later on in the series. Currently a right midfielder, we're playing him as an attacking midfielder on the right, which is great. Excellent first touch. His crossing, dribbling, and technique are all around 13. If they develop over the course of the season, they could get to 14, 15 relatively quickly. Got good flair, got decent determination from a mental standpoint, and physically very, very gifted. 18 acceleration, 19 agility, 17 pace. Very impressive from the Brazilian. And for his one appearance in the league so far, he scored a debut goal as well, so not bad start from him either. Over to the left wing now, and Azusko Mateo joins us from Athletic Bilbao. Again, another player that had a release clause, an £18.25 million release clause. Made a good few first team appearances for Bilbao last season, 5 to his name, despite only being around 17 at that time. Didn't get the best average rating, but he's got all the stats, all the attributes, I think, to go on and be something very special. Joins us for no money at all, 20k a week. Got a couple of little appearance fee bonuses in here, but no real risk in terms of what we've actually paid him. He can play as a winger on the left midfield side. He's going to play a little bit further forward for us. Left-footed player on the left foot side. I always like that balance. He's got decent technical attributes. That's probably his key area for improvement. You can see he's probably down a little bit, but he's been away with the Spanish under-20 side at that French Youth Invitational. We'll go through our pre-season results shortly, but quite a few players actually haven't done pre-season with us. They've been off with international teams, which has been frustrating, but okay. He's got good bravery, good determination, again, good work rate. Off the ball maybe needs a little bit of improvement, but that's fine. We can put him on a specialist regime. And good physical attributes as well. 16 agility, 17 balance, 15 pace and acceleration. All stuff that I would expect to improve as he continues to make first team appearances throughout the course of the year. And we've given him the number 11 clip, but he might actually go and share different match loads or share different playing time with Paul Harold, who you can see here. He's up 2.5-star current ability, only 4-star potential, but he is English, which kind of goes for him as well. He's developed quite a bit during the off-season. He's moved into comfortable in that attacking midfield left role. We might play him as a winger, might move to an inside forward or an inverted winger depending on how the season goes. So we've got a good bit of depth now on both wings. I'm pretty happy with where we're at in that position. The next one, Ruben Martinez, Mexican, joins us from Chivas Guadalajara. He was maybe a bit of a panic buy. I thought when it got late into the window that someone was going to pay Pablo Rivera's release clause, and I thought we need to get somebody in that's a replacement. Funnily enough, I just found a Mexican number 9 to replace an outgoing Mexican number 9. He looks very, very good. 17 finishing, 17 first touch, 17 passing, and 16 technique. All very impressive. Good mental attributes as well, 16 composure and decision-making and teamwork. Physically very gifted as well, 16 acceleration, balance and jumping reach, and everything else is above a 13 as well. Only 4-star potential, but I think he's got the ability to maybe be a bit better than that. What he really needs is first team football, which is why we've got him on the loan list at the moment. He had a good Olympic program as well with the Mexican under-23 side, scored a couple of goals in a few appearances in that tournament, was very good in the qualifying as well. We do have a loan offer in from Rennes over in France. If they are willing to take him, we'll send him out on loan for a season, mainly because we've kept Rivera. But what I have done is also put a recall clause in. So maybe if Rivera goes in January, we can bring him back and he can play the second half of the season for us. But he looks to be a very good prospect. Good to have him in. And again, we paid £15 million for him, which was his release clause in Mexico. Another Mexican joins, Jose Santana in central midfield. We've tried to kind of refresh our Wonder Kid stocks in midfield a little bit. And he looks very good. Good free kick taking, jumps out immediately, got good technique. We're going to try and play him as a deep line playmaker as well, which means his first touch is already good. His tackling probably needs a little bit of improvement, but technique's decent as well. His passing ability needs a bit of work. But good decision making, good teamwork, good physical attributes, agility, balance, 16, 17 natural fitness, proper box-to-box player, and at 18 years of age, not really any massive concern if we turn him around and sell him for a profit, having only paid £8 million for him. And that one is structured. I think it was $2 million up front and $6 million over the next 3 years or something like that. And he joins from Club America, also over in Mexico. Chris Miller is an interesting one. He's an English player that randomly popped up at FC Zurich, similar to David Lind appearing in Norway. Another young, talented English midfielder has appeared in Switzerland. So got good first touch, 17 first touch, 16 passing, good technique, 15. We're working him as a DLP on support. Mentally needs a little bit of improvement. We're throwing him in a mentorship group. Physically needs a bit of improvement as well. I think that will improve just by the high quality of coaching that we have on hand. We've got very good physical and fitness coaches. But he comes across likely going to be like a 4th choice central midfield option for us this season. But £6 million, relatively low for a young English player. We need English players in the squad. That's apparent. He's only 18, so he's got a lot of room to try and improve and get better. And if he gets, decent game time, 2.5 star, might become 3 star relatively quickly, might turn into a wonder kid, you never really know. And then once he's English, like the resale ability on those players is always fantastic. Next one, Michael Fasterman joins from Dynamo Dresden, who are a Bundesliga side at present. 18-year-old German central midfielder, can also play at the number 10, which is why I brought him in. I like that versatility that he can play both positions. You think like Lua Barbosa for the last few seasons could play both and really gave us more flexibility off the bench. I think Michael Fasterman will be in a similar boat. Only 1.5 star current ability, but 4 star potential. We paid next to no money for him, only £4 million. Which is mind-boggling to say. Go back to episode 1 and say the words £4 million and I would have freaked out thinking it was the most money anyone's ever paid. But again, just solid, okay technical ability, decent mental attributes, 17 aggression, 15 decision-making and determination and vision, all very impressive for an 18-year-old player. Physically decent as well, 17 balance, 16 stamina. Got a bit of work to do in some of the other areas, but I think a very good prospect. He's one for the future. Again, haven't paid a lot of money, £4 million. He's not on a lot of cash per week. I think even if this doesn't work out in the next season or two, he's a player that we will get profit on selling him back to a team in Germany. That same line of thinking has also brought in Uli Schäfer, who is the oldest player we've brought in at 21 years of age. He's 2.5 star current ability, 4 star potential. I just don't necessarily think that's reflective of how good he might actually be. We wanted a good backup striker, and I think the issue we've had with our backup strikers is when we bring them on with like half an hour to go, 10 minutes to go, whatever it may be, we're really looking for someone who can try and find a finish. And that's all Uli Schäfer can do. An advanced forward or a deep lying forward, he can't really dribble, he can't really cross, he's not really going to run off the ball or anything like that. But 19 finishing is absolutely immense. He played for Bayern Munich, made 1 league appearance for them across 6 years of his development. For Bayern Munich too, he scored 66 goals in 98 appearances, which is very impressive. But 19 finishing, 19 composure, 16 determination, 16 off the ball, 16 work rate. I think those are just phenomenal attributes. And if you want someone to come off the bench and snag a goal for you, 19 finishing, you can't really go past that. That's phenomenal. Physical attributes, nothing to write home about, but good balance, which is always handy. If he gets the ball in and around the box, he'll do well to hold on to it. Acceleration and pace are fine, stamina's fine, strength's fine. I don't know why Bayern Munich have let him go on a free, because we signed him for nothing and he's already worth £11.75 million. And again, I think he's a player that we can potentially sell back to the Bundesliga for a profit if it doesn't work out. But as far as a backup striker goes, like there's not really anything more that we could want from him. He's just going to come on for 10 minutes at a time. He's got really good finishing attributes, and he might end up going down as being one of the steals of the series. But again, Pablo Rivera's still here. He'll still likely be the starting central striker. We've got Ruben Martinez. He'll likely go out on loan, come back in and maybe be the starting central striker. But as far as squad players go, I think Uli Schaefer is going to be fantastic for us. So jumping forward now to look at the squad. This is what I think our preferred starting lineup would be. Mancini in goal, Abdesamad and Esteban as these two central defenders. Esteban has a knock. He won't start this first game, which is decent. It means that all three of our back four are at 4-star current ability. The other two are at 3-star current ability with still some potential up their sleeves. Fontana signed a new contract. We'll give him another year. We've got another German right wing back joining us during January. He'll come in the future. We'll introduce you to him once we get to January. And Abdesamad has 5-star potential ability. I think he could very quickly become a 4-star defender of his own accord. Moving forward to midfield, David Lind hasn't quite developed the way that we've wanted him to. He will continue this season. 2.5-star current ability, 4-star potential now. I think I said he joined from Norway earlier. He didn't. He joined from Denmark, FC Copenhagen. Again, not a horrible player. Got good work rate, good stamina, good decision making. He just hasn't quite developed into the player that I think we really wanted him to be. And maybe that's down to his technical training. Maybe we need to be putting him on more individual training regimes to get the best out of him. He will continue this season, but maybe that like defensive midfielder, that deep lying player, maybe we kind of look to develop a little bit further or bring someone else in that is probably like a wonder kid status. But again, he's English. I want to try and get English players in the starting lineup. Again, we haven't had a few in there for a while. And of course, he's playing against Arnaud Henry, arguably one of the best young midfielders in world football at the moment. He will be absolutely fine. And they've got a good partnership together. They've played together now for a few seasons. Hopefully that development continues and we go from there. Lucas Gabriel, I think, is a bit of a misnomer. He's not quite comfortable as an attacking right midfielder. He will get there by the end of the season, but he's got all the attributes to actually do the role really well. So I think even though he shows it's 2.5-star, perhaps not truly reflective of where he's at. Similar for Azusko Mateo on the left-hand side, not 100% comfortable as a winger on attack just yet. He will get there though, I think, given time, given room to development. And we've got also, I think, for the first time on those wings, or for the first time in the last few seasons, fantastic depth. We've got another right winger that can come in Frank Richard, do the job, is more than comfortable, 3 stars in that role. We've got a left winger in Paul Hammerald that can do exactly the same thing. Maybe we even play him as an inside forward to get him a little bit more comfortable. We've got quite a bit of depth, which I think has probably been one of the big focuses of us for the season. Of course, Hisham Haji, he was fantastic for us last season after joining for big money from Ajax. You can see some of his key technical attributes have moved into green. 17 first touch passing, 18 technique, all the key stuff we need him to do, absolutely fantastic. Mentally doing phenomenally as well, 16 decision making, 16 off the ball, 17 teamwork, 18 vision, fantastic stuff. And then even his semi attributes like the secondary ones, 16 agility, super important that he's got that. 15 anticipation, 14 dribbling, 15 flair. Like, he is just absolutely turning into a proper star at that number 10 role. Still only 20, still a wonder kid. We'll give him another year, and I think he's likely probably going to be the next player to move to 4.5-star, 5-star current ability. And we've got him on a long-term deal, and he seems relatively happy as well, so we'll hold on to him as long as we can. Ahead of them, he was the leading scorer 2 seasons ago in the Premier Division. Again, had another good year last year. Only 17 league goals, but I think like 31 goals in all competitions as things eventually finished. He has been excellent for us since he signed. I'm hopeful we can get another good year out of him. And if we are going to say goodbye, if a team isn't going to come in and pay his release clause, at least we get good production out of him for 6 months of the season. Already at 4.5-star current ability, I can see him finishing the year at 5. And Uli Schaefer, of course, as a backup is a more than handy option to have. Tactically speaking, we've got our positive structure, which I think is going to be our default for the season. Then we can go attacking if we need to, push some of the wingers and the playmakers on a little bit further. And then we have got our counter-attacking mentality just a little bit deeper to play in like away European fixtures, or maybe away to the likes of Manchester United, Man City, Chelsea, those big teams still in the division. It is still that hybrid, like vertical tiki-taka when we have possession, gegenpress when we don't have possession. It's been working for us pretty well, I think, over the last couple of seasons. I think our Europa League triumph was very much built on having this positive mentality at home and this cautious one away from home. If we can try and take that same form, take that same tournament mentality into the Premier Division, I think we're going to do very well. Pre-season's also been quite good. We've only lost 1 game to Roma. We played a couple of lower division sides and then had our pre-season tour of the US, which was effectively ended up being New York. We played the 3 New York sides. We weren't attacking for these first 6 games, mainly because we had so many players away at the Olympics or away at the French Youth Invitational, the Under-20 tournament, plus the Under-21 European Championships were all on. So there was a whole bunch of different football going on at different times. But we did quite well. You see a lot of the squad players like Paul Harold, Uli Schaefer, Isaac Toos, like those guys getting in amongst the goals, albeit against lower league opposition. And then the last 4 friendlies, we've really tried to play against like teams above our current level and reputation. So we played Roma, our 1 defeat for the year, Paul Harold getting a goal there. In a 2-1 defeat, we beat Lille 1-0. Again, Paul Harold getting amongst the goal sheets. Maybe I should be starting Paul Harold. He scored quite a bit in pre-season. A 0-0 draw with PSG and a 1-1 draw with Barcelona. Uli Schaefer getting a 79th minute equaliser for us there. Before, last time out, starting the league season at home to a very talented Brighton side, a very cashed up Brighton team. A good 2-1 win. We went 2-0 up on inside 20 minutes. They did pull one back on 29 minutes. And then we did get a couple of subs in the second half. But otherwise, it was a relatively good performance and a good way to start the season. The only real concern is that knock we picked up to Carlos Andre. That'll make it difficult for us in this Super Cup tie. But neutral venue against the side we've played a dozen times. We haven't beaten them, but we've got really no pressure on us in this scenario. And it's a very unique environment where we get to actually open the season with the cup final and try and add silverware to the trophy cabinet. Finances, before I forget, we should jump back in. Of course, last season we started the year at negative £191 million in debt. We have gotten it back just before kickoff of the start of this season to negative £10 million, which I think if we give it like another couple of weeks, we're going to be back in black for the first time in a long, long while. We really did gamble when we first came up to the Premier Division that we were going to consistently make a profit each season, and we kind of spent some of that cash that comes from TV rights deals, all that sort of stuff before we had it. Now we're going to focus on really trying to build up our reserves of cash, our reserves of stock, all that sort of stuff. Our facilities are probably the biggest area we need to improve over the course of this season. Of course, the ground isn't super old, it's into its 3rd season now. It's still only 17,000. If we get that closer to 20, that would be great. I actually don't know if it has expansion capacity. We'll find out about that later, I guess. And then also, I want to try and get some of our training and youth facilities up to standard. We were doing that quite a bit in the Championship. Since we've come up to the Premier Division, all of our cash has been going towards transfers. We haven't really developed too much in terms of our training or youth facilities. We want to try and get them to state of the art by the end of maybe next season. So expect that to be a continued focus as well. Not much else to go through. If there is anything that I have forgotten or anything that you want to see, by all means, drop it in the comment section below. I'll show you guys in tomorrow's episode. Magic of editing though, we're going to jump forward to the game against Manchester United and look at the 2 lineups. All right, so just jumping forward like that, we've got a couple of knocks, of course. Esteban with the knock, Carlos Andre with the knock. They won't start. We'll bring in Warburton and Medjugorje. And I thought about starting Harold. He's had a good preseason, judging by that, but I'm thinking he probably played and scored quite a bit because so many of our other players were away with international teams. So we'll go with Matteo on the left just to start with. It'll be Mancini in goal, Warburton and Abdesamad as the defensive partnership, Medjugorje and Fontana as the wing-backs, Lindelanka midfield alongside Henry, Haji at the 10 pulling the strings, Matteo on the left wing, Gabriel on the right, and Rivera leading the line up top. You'll note Rivera wearing the number 23 for this season. It's because I thought we were going to lose him. I gave the number 9 shirt to Martinez when I thought we were moving to sign a different kind of strike force and that he would end up at like Liverpool or PSG or somewhere. But if he hangs around for another year, we'll try and get him his number 9 shirt back. It is an interesting United side as well. It's Sean Dyche's United. He's been the England manager for the last few seasons. They might have a bit more of a Burnley look about him, but what I'm thinking is this flat 4-4-2 is a little bit more Alex Ferguson 99-2000 kind of era with like Dwight York, Andy Cole up top, Giggs and Beckham on the wings. They do have 2 phenomenal wingers actually. Nacho, I think, has been the player of the season the last couple of years. We'll have a look. He was the Footballer of the Year last season, despite not winning the league. He was the Footballer of the Year in 2035. Didn't win it in 2034, but he has been a phenomenal player. Won it again in 2033, so he's one of the best players in world football, and he's an inverted winger, is that right? He is inverted winger / inside forward, plays a bit deeper for United this season. Sharalabous over on the left-hand side, Cypriot left winger, or right winger by trade. He's going to play on the left today. 32 years of age. Any Cypriot fans watching will be thrilled that there's a regen of that quality coming through. Lydio, I guess, is going to be like the Roy Keane, deep line playmaker on defend, 5-star current and potential ability, full Brazilian international as well. Plays alongside Max Jones as kind of the box-to-box Paul Scholes type. 4.5-star current and potential ability, came through the United Academy. We got some phenomenal players like Quadio, we've played against a few times. He wears the captain's armband, leads the line up top. Just a phenomenal player. He plays alongside Bianconi, who I think is a number 10 by trade. They're playing him up front as well. They've got a winger and a number 10 playing up front, but still probably not losing anything in terms of their forward movement. Both phenomenal players. Morel's an excellent defender. Lloyd Doyle's an excellent goalkeeper. Now in legendary goalkeeper status at 31 years of age. He's been the England #1 for about 10 years. Really, they don't have any players that are under, 4-star current ability, which for us would be like the best players in our squad. We've still got some work to do to get to the level of United, City, all those teams, but we're going to go and assertively say nobody expects us to get a result. Let's just reduce pressure. I'm going to assertively tell the defence that I've got faith in them, and I'll tell Rivera up the top we've also got faith in him. Worth noting, we're playing on our counter-attacking structure. We're just going to see how we go. I think we're in a cup final. If I had my own decision-making hat on, I would probably be going a little bit more positive, but we know the strength of United. We haven't beat them in 12 games. We've got to show them the respect they deserve. Lind sends the ball into the channel. Rivera will chase, but Morel's going to win it back for Doyle. Oh, and we've managed to score there. I think Lorenzoni has just cleared it straight into Rivera, and it's pinballed into the back of the net. We're going to check this one out in 3 dimensions. It's a wonderful start, 2 minutes in. Lind sends the ball down the channel for Rivera to chase. Morel gets there well and truly in advance. Doyle plays it across to Lorenzoni, and he tries to clear it, and Rivera, it just hits him in the face, and ricochets in the back of the net. I'm going to take it. Make no mistake, we're going to take that goal. I'm going to mark it down in history. Now what can we do defensively? Can we hold on for 84 minutes and just defend a lead against arguably one of the best attacking units in world football? Bruno Eduardo with the throw-in for United here. This is where we have to be a bit worried because they leave 2 central defenders and 1 deep-lying midfielder, and they kept wide areas and stay wide until late. Nacho goes on the run, plays it back to Jones when maybe I thought he would have gone for the strike. Bruno Eduardo joins in. These overlapping wing-backs just flying forward. Nacho with the ball, flicks it onto Bianconi, gets a good touch around the defender. Thankfully, the finish straight at Mancini, who does well to save and hold. I'm fearful now that they're going to get pissed off and score 15 goals past us or something crazy like that, but we're out of the opening 20 minutes without conceding too much in terms of highlights. We do have a deep throw in here. Fontana to take, played to Lind, sends Rivera up the channel. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's beaten 1 challenge. Can he get it back on his left foot? It's a good effort, and he's found the finish again. Pablo Rivera, we know we need a big season from him. We know we do way, way better when Rivera is scoring goals with regularity. And this is an absolute wonder strike. Picks the ball up in a nothing area on this right-hand side. Skips past Morel with a lovely little touch. I think he might get tackled here by Lorenzoni, but he stays on his feet and then finds the finish side footing for a double inside 23 minutes. And he peels off doing the chicken dance towards the corner flag. And who could blame him? 2-0 up inside a UEFA Super Cup. Got some yellow cards coming through. Mateo's picked one up on the left wing. Henri's picked one up in midfield, which we'll have to be wary of. Fontana now with one at right back. That's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. We've got about 10 minutes remaining in the half. We're going to use demand more just to give everyone some focus through to half-time. And 2-0 at half-time, there's not really too much we could complain about with that. And that's half-time's called. Manchester United, 5 shots, 3 on target, 46% possession. FC Isle of Man, 3 shots, 2 on target, 54%. Dressing room, I'm just going to say passionately, very happy with the way things are going, lads, and everyone's responded really well. We're going to stay on counter. Maybe this will mean that there'll be a bit of a hairdryer. There might be a bit more attacking instruction for United. But so far, we're dealing with it. Maybe we go positive for the last half an hour or something. Try and make the most of that space in behind. Try and go a little bit more vertical tiki-taka. But I'll tell you what, we're through the hour mark very quickly. We're going to hit pause. We're going to have a look at some subs. Mateo hasn't played particularly well and has a yellow card. So we're going to bring on Paul Harold, who has had a good preseason for us. Fontana has a yellow card that we've got to be wary of. Maybe I'll trust Fontana and Henri, and I might bring on Richard at right wing. We'll change the 2 wingers. He's still working his way back from that broken ankle at the end of last season. Assertively, we're going to say, I have faith in you, get out there, make a difference. And it's 2 young wingers replacing 2 young wingers. And let's use a get creative shout. We've got a corner here as well. Hardy puts it into a good area. Rivera was in there and about, but Doyle does very well to come out and claim. We've got a drop here. They've left 3 forward, but it's a poor clearance. Ball to Richard now. Back to Lind. What can we do? Wide left area. Richard, Lind, Henri. Back to Lind again. We've kind of squandered the counter that we had. Harold with a strike from a wide area. Doyle with an excellent save pushes it out for the corner. They were had left quite a few men forward there from that set piece. We'll have to be wary of that as the game continues. Hardy goes near post to Abdesamad, and it's just over and just maybe a little bit wide of the near post as well. But good signs from this Isle of Man team. Highlight continues from the goal kick though. We've committed too many men to the ball, and the ball's with Nacho on halfway. Cardio, switch out towards Rivera. It's 1 back. Henri now in possession. The highlight comes to an end. Goal kick, reset again. Lorenzoni goes straight to August. We've got to pick up on that, boys. That's 2 in a row that they've played to the same area. Warburton's gone through Cardio, and they've given a foul. They're going to go have a look at VAR. This might be a penalty, and this might be a way for United to get back into the game with about 30 minutes remaining. Reviewing the footage, there was nowhere near the ball. What's going to happen here? This highlight takes way too long. Outside the box, free kick. All right, so we've gotten away with one, but they've still got excellent set-piece delivery. Nacho's left foot, going to have to be wary of. Goes back stick. Yulberg pinballs it around. I think Cardio got the last header on it as it goes out for the goal kick. We're going to see that goal kick now. Pressure definitely increasing with about 25 minutes remaining. Henri now to Haji. Out left to Harold. What can you do wide left area? Had a good preseason. We spoke about it, reviewing the results. Gets the ball back now. Medjdu on the overlap. Harold to Henri. Wide left area. Wonderful strike from Arnaud Henri. Doesn't score a lot of goals, but that one is absolutely massive. We're going to check this out in 3 dimensions. A wonderful move. I had just the weirdest feeling the whole time we were in possession they were going to win the ball back and counter-attack super aggressively. Medjdu does very well. Cuts it back to Harold. Harold squares it up to Henri. No one closes him down quick enough, and he just rifles that one into the top right-hand corner. Keeper can do nothing about it, and we're 3-0 to the good against Manchester United, which is just a weird sentence to say. Deep free kick. Bianconi with possession now. Just stand him up, boys. Switches it out to Yulberg. Gets the strike away. They've pulled one back. Rudy Yulberg's second goal of the season for him. You can see why Real Madrid are so interested. It's been one of the transfer stories of the off-season. And Bianconi, they've got so much quality. Like, they really could at the drop of the hat slam 2 goals in behind us in the last 20 minutes. Yulberg with the striking distance. We don't get to him quick enough. It's poor pressing from everybody involved. And I think once he gets his head up and gets the opportunity to pick out a strike, he's done quite well. Wide right free kick. Nacho to take. Throw in. Nacho to take. You can see a few different names out there. Deluski now at right back. They're bringing on some subs trying to chase this equaliser or chase another goal. Mancini does well to save and hold. We've got 10 minutes remaining. We're going to need to do one more. We've got one more highlight. Harji goes back stick towards Lind. Flick on header, hits side netting. All right, one more highlight to go and one more sub to make. Henri might come off here just because of that yellow card. We'll bring on for his debut Chris Miller. Maybe we'll do Santana. We'll go with Miller. We'll go with the English player. 10 minutes remaining. Hell of a debut for him in a European final against Manchester United. We're going to hit demand more as well with 10 minutes remaining in the half. We just really need to try and hold on here. Be a famous victory if we can get a good result. Lorenzoni, deep free kick. Forward to Jones. Ball over the top now to Nacho. Deluski. This right-hand side, they are dominating us at the moment. And thankfully, he goes to drive himself. Wide right area. Only can smash it side netting. 4 minutes for additional time. We've got a deep throw in. Miller, with his first involvement, has lost out to Nacho, who's going to win the ball back. And this counter-attack, they are flooding forward. Bianconi, poor touch from Medjdu, and Bianconi's pulled one back. There's 4 minutes remaining. And, please, boys, please don't throw this away. What happened here with Medjdu? You can see him puts it into the channel. Medjdu gets there first, and he just touches it into advantage. Nobody else has switched on. It's a good finish from Bianconi. This is really going to upset me quite a bit. There's an immediate highlight. We've got to use demand more going into the last 10 minutes. Warburton with the ball. Mancini. Ball over the top for Lind. Now Miller. Can we work another goal? Out wide right for Richard. Overlapping fullbacks coming. Finds Fontana. Just head to the corner flag, boys. 4 minutes. I just need you to go to the corner flag. Richard with a good tackle. Lind now. Fontana. Into Miller. Come on, boys. Maybe I shouldn't have taken off Henri. Maybe that's part of our issue. Miller's lost possession. And Petrucci's coming forward. Oh, he's gotten goal side as well. Great save from Mancini. Keeps us in it. Come on, boys. It's 2.5 minutes. We can get through 2.5 minutes. Oh, there's highlights everywhere. Nacho with the ball from the corner. Backstick ball. Fontana gets it away. Yulberg to Deluski at the edge of the area. Back to Yulberg. Someone's got to get to him. Similar area to where he scored. Abdesamar with a good tackle. We can only stand him up. Morrill. Richard wins the ball back in a great area. Just head to the corner flag, Richard. Oh, it's a good tackle from Petrucci. We're holding on here by the skin of our teeth. Throw in, right-hand side. Fontana to take. Come on, boys. Finds Harji. Back to Fontana. Send him to the corner flag. Miller, send him to the corner flag. Harji with the ball now. Looks for Rivera. Corner flag. Corner flag. Corner flag. Fontana on the overlap. Squares it up towards back stick. Harold's got the possession. Finds Lind. Loses out to Petrucci, and they're flooding forward. They've left 4 men forward. Warburton with the tackle. Thank God we've held on there. Referee calls full time. It's a famous victory in our first win against Manchester United. In the end, United had 18 shots, 10 on target, 44% possession. We had 13 shots, 6 on target, 56% of the ball. 3-0 up after 65 minutes, 3-2 victors in the end. Passionately, we're going to say, really special, lads. Nobody gave you a chance. You played magnificently well, and we just want to keep morale up as much as possible early part of the season. I've nearly lost my voice with that one. That was ridiculously tense. FC Old Man lift UEFA Super Cup. Not one that I ever expected to see. Nacho gets the Man of the Match award with his goal. His assist and a 9.0 match rating. £3.87 million. That'll be huge for our overall financial balance. We win the UEFA Super Cup. Key players Nacho. That's ridiculous. 14 medals get given out from the 14 players that played. I'm at the top of the Australian managers list. Supporters are thrilled, and there's a few players that look like they could need a rest. Frank Richard and Arnaud Henri. We might give them a bit of a spell for the next game against Fulham. One competition done, one winning trophy in the cabinet for the season. We're on track for that quintuple. Is that when it's 5? It's not quadruple. I can't remember. I'll Google that after. Now, looking forward to our schedule. We're probably going to play the Fulham, Reading and Bournemouth games off screen. I think they're all winnable matches. But then what we might do is might jump forward and play our first UEFA Champions League group stage game. I've barely talked about the Champions League in this preview episode, but we've got our first Champions League campaign as well. So I think what we might do is if we look at the calendar, when's the group stage draw? Maybe we'll do in the next episode the group stage draw and then also try and do the match against West Ham and our game against our first group league game or group stage game in the Champions League itself. Might mean we play the Bournemouth game off screen, but in the next episode. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. That's the part that I appreciate the most. I really enjoy these start of the season episodes, mainly because my hopes are so high. And if we continue to get good performances, we've beaten Brighton now, we've beaten Man United in that cup final. I know the wheels will come off at some point, but if we continue to grow and develop as a club, we're really going to turn into a proper football team within a season or two. I think I mentioned it earlier, but if there is anything I've forgotten, drop it in the comment section below. I will happily go in and show you guys anything that you want to see as far as the save, the team, the lineup, all that sort of stuff. As always, so much of the content on this channel is going to be driven by what you guys want to see. And if you've got your own saves going on, let me know in the comment section below where you've got your saves happening, how they're going. I do love hearing about it. I do respond to every single comment that I get. But as always, I've been Sean, and I'll see you all again in the mixer.